And we're live. Oh boy. Hey everybody, welcome to episode 7 of Maroon Mondays Live. Yeah, this is still here. And it's still a thing. Whoopee. I'm Andrew, your host, and let's just get started to some of these stories here. Well, let's get started with the current verdict of the Bill Cosby trial. Now, this was the trial that everybody's been waiting for, and everybody's been hanging up on since the O.J. Simpson trial, I guess, at least. Now, legendary actor and comedian Bill Cosby has been put on trial after more than 50 women have accused him of sexual assault, sexual harassment, and sexual abuse for decades. One of these women was former employee at Temple University, Andrea Constand, whom accused Cosby in 2004 of sexual assault and giving her pills that left her sleepy and motionless, seemingly. Now, the trial has taken place for about 6 days, and the end result from the jury was long, painful, irritating, and a way to watch. Now, I'm not going to go for the joke, but as soon as we got the trial verdict, it was quite interesting. The trial has, the verdict has been deadlocked. And because of this, the judge in the trial has decided to declare it a mistrial, meaning that Bill Cosby has at least gotten away with at least one trial, at least. Now, in this article from CNN, the high-profile case accusing Bill Cosby of aggravated indecent assault ended in a mistrial Saturday. Excuse me, hold on for a minute. I just got into it. And now. Okay, here we go. Let's start over. Now, according to this account from CNN, according to this report from CNN, case accusing Bill Cosby of aggravated indecent assault ended in a mistrial Saturday after a Pennsylvania jury was unable to come to a unanimous decision. The outcome leaves one of America's most recognized entertainers, as well as his accusers, without vindication. Legally announced they will retry the case. An hour into the 6th day of deliberations, Judge Stephen O'Neill declared that the jury of 7 men and 5 women were hopelessly deadlocked in a legal battle, closely watched by the public, as well as dozens of women who have accused Cosby of similar misconduct in the past. You do not feel like you've let the justice system who labored for more than 53 hours and asked 12 questions of the court during the deliberations. Addressing Cosby, who appeared stoic and calm at the inconclusive finale of his trial, O'Neill said, "It's not a failure or victory." Outside court, Cosby, 79, was silent, but spokesman Andrew Wyatt pumped his fist in the air and declared that Cosby's, quote, unquote,
after several days of delivery.
Sorry, video is up. Okay, I'm sorry, that was a video that just turned on for some automatically. A spokeswoman for Cosby's wife, Camille, delivered a statement blasting the prosecution, judge, and media. And I quote, "How do I describe the district attorney? Heinous and exploitatively ambitious. How do I describe the judge? Overtly and arrogantly collaborating with the district attorney. How do I describe the counsels for the accusers? Totally unethical. How do I describe many, but not all, general media? blatantly vicious entities that continually disseminated intentional omissions of truths for the primary purpose of brutally selling sensationalism at the expense of a human life. The expense of a human life was pretty much opened up the legs and fondled and ruined the lives of many, many women. You old wench. Now, I understand that you want to forgive and accept the pain that your husband caused. But at first I would seem like one of those people who would believe Cosby over these women because he was beloved as America's one of America's biggest comedians and the star of the Cosby Show. But after seeing more and more women accuse him of pretty much the same thing, and pretty much all of their accusations have been consistent and shocking, it pretty much changed my opinion. It made me think, you know what? He may be a beloved actor and comedian, but I have to realize he was playing an act on a TV show, a beloved TV show nonetheless. But after watching this, I may still watch, enjoy, and love the Cosby Show and Cosby and all his other programs, but I'm putting him aside to say that the man in real life is a fucking creep and a disgusting person. And for his wife to just leer at the judge, the district attorney, most of the media, and the jurors, despite the fact that she was not even by his side throughout all of this, just sitting around at home like a troll, ready to pounce on anyone for no reason other than to amuse themselves like the dickheads they are. It kind of pissed me off. And pretty much proves more and more why Bill Cosby deserves to be at least held accountable for the actions that these more than 50 women have accused him of. Sure, he's in court now, and the trial has been led at a deadlock, but if more than 50 women are going to accuse one man of doing something heinous like sexual assault or indecent assault to them, and they can remember it to this day and finally speak up and speak loud about it, do you really think I'm going to take your side over them? Do you really think I'm going to believe you more over them? I certainly wouldn't, at least in the short run. It's going to make me believe you even more and more after this. You may have a beloved TV career, but after this, I can still watch it and I can still enjoy it, but I don't think I can with as much love and respect as I had for them and you as I was back when I was a kid. I'm sorry, but when they retry, I don't want him to go to jail because he'll pretty much spend the rest of his life there and he'll die there too. But what I want to see is for him to be held accountable for his actions. Fuck the fact that he's the same guy who had a TV show once. Everybody who's been a TV show star had a TV show once. If people want to hold sorry, I can't think of many excuses, but if you know some examples in your head right now, if you're going to hold some people accountable for some horrible things they've done, especially if you're a black person holding a white star accountable for things he's done, what makes you think that Bill Cosby's any different? What, because he had a #1 show on television for 5 years? What, because his show does have morals and stuff? If anything, it makes me think now how hypocritical it is because of the fact that he's done something amoral while his TV show encourages something more moral. Get out of here with that, man. If you believe Cosby over them, that's fine. That's your choice. That's your mind. That's your decision. That's whatever you think. I'm sorry, I can't be on the same page with you if you think that this poor man who did a TV show once with morals and kindness and love is going to do something heartless, thoughtless, disgusting, heinous, immoral. And if you think this is going to ruin his legacy, you're still talking about the Cosby Show. You're still watching the Cosby Show. And I bet people are just watching it much more because of the trial. I'm glad that people still watch it because I love watching it too. But What legacy would you care about they're going to try to destroy if it's something that he did? Something 50 plus women have accused him for, and something that he just can't disprove. Huh? If you think that they're trying to tarnish a legacy that he himself tarnished with something that he caused himself, just explain to me in a calm, rational manner, and I'll keep quiet until your time to speak is over. Why that you think that they are? I'll be sitting here waiting, and I'll try to listen. No, I will listen. I'll just give my point in rebuttal. Until then, I'm conflicted. I don't want him to go to jail, but I just want him to say something that I can understand why he did this. In fact, I'm more shocked than everyone else who believes they're trying to destroy his legacy, why he would do something like this. If he can prove to me that he and convince me that he did not do something like this in his own words, out of his own mouth, then I can believe him. Until then, he can eat fucking crow. I think after this, I don't know if I'm going to be even more angrier. But after this story of yet another cop who gets away with murder of an innocent black man, I'm going to end up furious. But here we go. Another trial this past week ended in a verdict that I think we all, and especially the family of the victim, can agree is one that we all, especially for the victim himself, did not deserve. The trial of the terrorist, the terrorist cop who killed Minnesotan Philando Castile was in court to learn he was acquitted of the crime he committed yesterday, and the jury has chosen his fate at a Minnesota state courthouse. I'm sorry. Now, when the trial and its charges were announced, I knew without a shadow of a doubt he would not go to jail. The killer, Geronimo Yanez, who, beyond all things, at least in the eyes of the public, the white public, was a fair and kind cop who did what he had to do to protect and serve. Except he didn't protect and serve because he killed a black man for no reason other than because he thought he was fearing for his life. You can't fear for your life when you're a police officer in front of a black man who didn't do anything wrong. But in case you've forgotten, although I'm calling you lucky because of the fact that you did. Let's see. A few years ago, no, maybe last year, Philando Castile and his girlfriend, Diamond Reynolds, and their daughter were stopped by police for a broken taillight. The officer, that guy, I will not say his name again, fuckface, approached them and asked them for license and registration. Philando pulled out license and registration. I think it was an insurance card. Yeah, it was that. And showed it to the cop. Soon after, he told the killer cop that he had a gun. And license. Soon after, the guy flipped out and pulled out his gun and told him not to pull out his gun. Philando told the cop repeatedly that he wasn't going to pull it out, along with his girlfriend, Diamond Reynolds, who told the cop that he wouldn't pull it out. Now, Philando was going to reach for his wallet but because of the fact that the wallet and gun were assumedly in the same place, tragedy struck. As he was reaching for his wallet and not his gun, the officer assumed he was pulling out his gun anyway, despite the fact that Philando told him he was not going to reach for his gun and was going to reach for his wallet. And unfortunately, shot Philando 7 times. 5 times in the chest, 2 times missed. Moments later, after saying that he was not going to pull out his gun and that he has been shot, Philando died at the scene. Now, Diamond, his girlfriend, later pulled out her phone and began recording a live video on Facebook showing the world that his soon-to-be dead boyfriend was shot and killed by police, even though he did not pull out his gun and did what the officer asked. All of this was just heartbreaking. But I'm not surprised because even though this cop was not white, Yanez was Hispanic. It just shows you that no matter what a black man does, even if he would commit a crime, although most of the time he did not, there's always a chance that he would not get out alive. Bigger chance of him dying than him walking out alive. All these damn white cops, and in this case, Hispanic cop, don't care about the life and well-being of this black man or his family. No, he just says, I fear for my life, I fear for my family. So you care about yourself and your family, but not the family of the black man you just killed, or the life and well-being of that black man. You just thought, no, I'm just going to shoot him because I think he's going to kill me, even though I have no proof or evidence of that, or the fact that he has a concealed weapon in his possession. I'm just going to kill him because I claim I'm afraid, even though I'm a cop with power all over me, and I can do whatever I want, and what I did was just what I wanted. To end a life that did not need to be ended, because I'm a cop. I hate this. I hate cases like this, and I hate things that happen. But it is what it is. Now to the trial, which we expected would end the way we did not want to happen, but it still left us pissed off. Now the trial took place yesterday, and the officer was acquitted of his charges. And to see his family cry after the verdict pretty much broke my heart. Okay. According to this article from the New York Times, the images had transfixed people around the world, streaming the aftermath of a police shooting of her boyfriend, Orlando Castillo, and narrating the searing, bloody scene that was unfolding around her. On Friday, a jury here in St. Paul, Minnesota, acquitted the Minnesota police officer, Geronimo Yanez, of all true charges in the shooting, which happened in July 2016 and left Mr. Castillo dead, raising the national debate over police conduct towards black people. The officer, an officer of the suburb of St. Anthony, had been charged with second-degree manslaughter and endangering safety by discharging a firearm in the shooting. He should have been charged with murder, not manslaughter. In fact, he should have been charged with either murder or first-degree manslaughter, because it was disgusting to see this happening. I'm sorry, let me go on. I'm sorry, The verdict was announced in a tense courtroom here late Friday afternoon. After 5 days of deliberations, and the officer was led out quickly of the courtroom, as were the 12 jurors. Mr. Castile's family, which had nervously watched the proceedings from the front row, abruptly left that as well. My son loved the city, and the city killed my son, Mr. Castile's mother, Valerie, said as she stood on a corner outside the courthouse afterward. A murderer gets away. Are you kidding me right now? She continued, the system in this country continues to fail black people and will continue to fail us. The case against the officer, believed to be the first time in Minnesota history that an officer was charged in an on-duty fatal shooting, hinged on one central question. Did the officer have reason to fear that Mr. Castile was reaching for a gun that he had acknowledged having with him when he was pulled over by the officer? The answer should have been no. He had no reason at all. The officer testified that he feared Mr. Castile was grabbing for the gun, but Mr. Castile's girlfriend, Diamond Reynolds, said he had merely been reaching for his identification to give to the officer. There was no dashboard camera. There were dashboard camera video of the events, as well as the live stream video that Miss Reynolds had began taking after the shooting. There was no video clearly revealing the crucial moments in the front seat of Mr. Castile's car, and how precisely he had moved his hands before the officer fired. Probably because it was removed just before the shooting. You know, cops will do so much dirty work to keep their hands clean, or at least pretend to have their hands clean out of many things. There may be some things that they don't know, but there's some things that we do assume, and that makes so much sense if it happened. The shooting set off large marshes across the Twin Cities and, at one point, blocked off a major highway. It drew notice from President Barack Obama, as well as the governor of Minnesota, Mark Dayton, who asked aloud, would this have happened if the driver were white or if the passengers were white? Of course not. Have you seen anything that happened soon? And for those of you claiming that white people have been killed by officers the most in statistics, has it ever happened this frequently? Of course not. Get out of here with that. On Friday, news of the acquittal filtered out. As news ever filtered out, a small group of protesters gathered outside the courthouse expressing anger and dismay. It's not us that were on trial. It was the system that were on trial, said Mel Reeves, a community activist. Later in the evening, protesters gathered at the Minnesota Capitol in St. Paul to express their displeasure with the verdict. The police estimated that 1,500 people set off from there on a march, causing traffic backups and transit delays. Mike Patton, a lawyer representing Ms. Reynolds, said he was surprised and disappointed by the verdict. I don't know why he should. For those of us who committed to the idea of leveling the playing field with law enforcement and the citizenry, it's a big blow, he said. John J. Choi, the prosecutor, who announced the charges against the officer, said on Friday that, quote, this verdict brings a lot of hurt and pain and deep-seated frustration for a lot of people in this community, unquote. Mr. Choi said he was disappointed in the verdict and believed that Mr. Castillo, quote, did nothing that justified the taking of his life, unquote. We gave it our best shot, said Mr. Choi, the Ramsey County attorney. We really did. The acquittal was the latest example of charges against an officer, but not a conviction. In recent years, officers in Cleveland, Pennsylvania, and Tulsa, Oklahoma, have been found not guilty of manslaughter. Elsewhere, including Cincinnati and South Carolina, jurors had deadlocked on charges after a failed shooting and failed to deliver any verdict at all. Among some advocates for police officers, the outcome was met with approval. Basically, if you're part of Blue Lives Matter, fuck you, okay? I'm not going to hold back right now. If you really think that an officer's life is more important than a black man's, you don't know shit. You don't know anything about this black man or any black man that's been shot. You just think they're thugs or waste of society or pieces of crap. When you don't know a goddamn thing about them to have their lives taken away. All you care about these police officers, when these police officers have done disgusting shit to these people. They don't care about these people. They don't care about any black people. All they care about is themselves and trying to protect themselves. When their duty as a cop is to protect and serve the people. If you don't get that, you have no right to defend police officers or be part of some stupid movement that has no weight, no water to carry, or anything to support black police officers when most of them are proven in open video. In these cases, they deserve nothing. They deserve nothing in justification for their actions. And if you think so, fuck you, okay? You don't deserve anything to say that they're justified. Because Blue Lives Matter is just a bullshit operation. Trying to act like police officers are good and holy and caring. And most of them are, because they do their job. And most of the time they are justified in their actions. But these cops that were shown here in these articles and these news scandals across the country, they don't do anything that justify their jobs or haven't done anything right or moral. These cops taking lives for no reason other than to protect themselves when they're supposed to protect the people. When you think that what they're doing is justified, you are twisted and sick. Earl Gray, a lawyer for the officer, said he was gratified with the outcome, but frustrated that the charges were ever brought. The state didn't have a case in the first place. Mr. Gray said in an interview on Friday evening after the acquittal, because of the protests and the political pressure, I suppose you'd call it, he was charged and he had to go into court and defend himself. Fuck off, okay? Yes, there shouldn't be a case in the first place because we all know he was convicted of murder. He murdered an innocent black man who did what he was supposed to do. And you have some damn nerve telling that there shouldn't be a case in the first place. There should be, because he deserves to go to jail. No, not jail, prison. And you're damn skippy because of the protests and the political pressure. He deserved to get a trial. And he had to defend himself. He shouldn't have defense. But he's lucky he has some anyway. And I know you're doing your job. But what you just said pisses me off, man. I shouldn't be talking about you, but I'll just go on. Gray said of the officer that the officer was, quote, still very shook up after the verdict, but extremely happy it's over. He should be very shook up, and he deserves to be because he thinks he's going to go away with this happy. But even though he deserves to be happy it's over because while it's over in an actual courtroom, it's not over in the court of public opinion. It shouldn't be over in the court of public opinion. And if he ever steps outside again, he's not going to like it. And listen to this. Listen to what this dumb word said here. He wants to get on with his life. He wants to get on with his life. Yes, this man who took the life of an innocent black man wants to get on with his life. Well, fuck his life. Fuck his life. up the ass. He doesn't deserve to have a good life after taking one of them, and he didn't deserve to die. Yet he gets to walk away scot-free. You know what? If the Bill Cosby prosecutors want to have a retrial, then this deserves a retrial. I don't care if it'll take another 6 days or another week. This man deserves to be convicted and sent to prison. This man deserves justice, and his family deserves justice for his untimely and undeserved death. He did not deserve to die, and yet the people who think he deserves to think he deserved to die. Yet what they deserve is a philosophical, is a not literal smack in the face. What we need for them to get that smack in the face is this trial. Remember, not literal, but this trial needs to be retried, okay? Now, I'm sorry, I'm going way off script here. This is a pattern that would shock you at first, but it really won't surprise you after. It's happened so many times in the past couple of years. It's the same damn thing. And like I said earlier, cases in Cleveland and Pennsylvania. Boy, the officer is acquitted of all charges when he should have been. And Tulsa, Oklahoma, too. You know why? Because people believe that these cops shooting these black men down have lives to protect them. Well, they don't have lives to protect them anymore because they're not cops anymore. They're now pretty much private citizens who now need to live their lives in secrecy and under fear. Well, you know what? They deserve that fear because of the fact that they claim they were in fear of their lives when they took down these black men. And now they're going to be even more fear, opinion, never forgiving them and looking down on them for the rest of their lives. And they deserve that. This cop told Philando Castile everything that he was supposed to do. And he did it. And yet, he still killed him. The cop did everything wrong. Nico from Superstore looking fat ass motherfucker did everything wrong in this case. I'm sorry I even brought up Nico from Superstore. He didn't deserve to be compared to this piece of shit. And you know what? Tell me how the officer did the right thing. Please tell me. Straight up. Tell me how he did the right thing when there was clear evidence he did. That's right. You can't. Everything Castile did under the direction of the cop was the right thing. He did everything the cop said. And yet the cop was scared out of his own damn wits when he was told that he had a gun, thinking that he'd be shot by a black man. And if you think that this wasn't race-related, don't think this wasn't race-related, because we wouldn't be here if this wasn't mostly race-related. Oh, in case you've forgotten or haven't even known, there was a child in the back seat. His child. A child that he and Diamond Reynolds had taken care of. And that little girl will live the rest of her life not only without a father, but with these thoughts and dreams in her head that she hasn't realized at all, that have been about her father being shot and killed, literally an arm's length behind her. And if that officer had shot any more times, there would have been a chance that little girl would have ended up dead too. Because, had I said earlier, Philando was shot 7 times, and 2 times the cop missed. That could have hit the girl or Diamond Reynolds. And there's a chance that girl would have died too. So whatever you say, just save the bullshit. This man died under the careless actions of a dirty cop, dirty, disgusting cop. And the child is going to live the rest of her life without a father in it. And this cop has the damn nerve to say that he was fearing for his life. Fuck his life, okay? After the verdict was read, Philando's mother, Valerie Castile, did not hold back her displeasure of it. Of the verdict, the jury, or even her home in his home state. She went to interviews outside the Minnesota courthouse to give her thoughts on the verdict. Now, while she was more restrained with her response during interviews with local and national news media, it was after that round of interviews where she really didn't hold back. When she went off in a live video on Facebook. After the interviews ended, she went, and soon as she went to her car and composed herself, she went all the way in on them. Take a listen to this.
Hey, Facebook and everybody around the world, I'm sure y'all seen this bullshit that happened today. Fuck what they talking about. Yeah, I'm going live now. I've been holding myself, trying to be strong and not say the wrong things because I already know how they get down. I'm 61 years old. I've seen it. I've smelled it. I've heard it. Now you see exactly what these motherfuckers think about us. They murdered my motherfucking son with his seatbelt on. So what does that say to you? Now they got free reign to keep killing us any kind of way they want to. So I just want to say one thing to everybody out there. I don't give a fuck what you do. Do what your heart desires, because that shit wasn't right. And I'm here to say that, and fuck the police. Say whatever the fuck you want to say. Now this is the real Valerie Castile. I don't give no fuck no more. This shit is crazy. You gonna kill a man in front of a child and a woman who gonna bring children to a motherfucking gunfight. Come the fuck on, please. I don't know where they got them motherfucking jewelry from, but that was straight up bullshit. And they gonna keep on killing us as long as we sit down and just take it. Oh yeah, he was in fear for his life. Bull motherfucking shit. You shouldn't be no police officer if you gonna handle yourself in that manner. Do what you do. Cause this shit gonna keep on happening, and it's gonna be you one day in this fucked up mother's club with their children murdered by the motherfucking police. I don't give no fuck. Man, y'all just don't know how sister feeling right now. If I had it my way, it's on and cracking. Fuck that shit. I'm sick of this shit. Y'all been killing motherfuckers all these years. But here in Minnesota, this crack-a-bama ass motherfucking state. Fuck these motherfuckers. And with that, peace out. Do your motherfucking thing. Whatever. Have a nice life. I hope that motherfucker die tonight. Hello.
Damn. She went all the way live. She went rough. But she went real. She was right. There is systemic racism in law enforcement across this country, and it has spread. Not all cops are bad, no doubt, but there are a lot of them who go against the badge to commit the disgusting crime of taking a black man's life for no reason. And a pathetic feeling from my life card will never save you from a court of public opinion. And if you think you're afraid of an unarmed black man, and in this case, an armed black man who told you he had his own gun with a license to carry and never pointed his gun at you, you do not deserve to wear the uniform or the badge. Sit the fuck back down and do something else. Because if you think you're going to be a police officer to protect the lives of those you held on your shoulders, figuratively, and protect your city, that you're going to take a life because you think he's going to kill you, even though that's never going to happen. In this case, he told you it wasn't going to happen. You do not deserve to be a cop. Just do something else with your life. Just don't do anything that involves protecting the people that you know that you're not going to protect at all. And apparently that's what that guy is going to do for possibly the rest of his life. In fact, he deserves to stay in his house in secrecy. Because if he ever steps back in public, there's a chance he's going to regret stepping out ever again. Whatever happens, happens. I don't condone it, but in this case, I don't not condone it either. Fuck Geronimo Yanez in the ass. Rotten hell. And have a nice rest of your life. If you're in fear, good. Fuck forgiveness, because forgiving a cop for taking your own family member's life, that'll help you move on, but not for a long, long time. I don't think I'm going to get out of this post happy, but I'm going to try. Now, Ivanka Trump is pretty much on the bandwagon of Trump family members bitching to the media. Specifically, the state media, known as Fox News, about the media, other politicians in Washington, and even members of his other father's own presidential party going against him and calling it all vicious. Now, she appeared on Fox and Friends last week to talk with the host about Washington's, quote, viciousness against her father, and pretty much it's all pretty what you expect from this. Now let's take a listen. And I'm not going to play the entire interview because it's a 13-minute commercial for her and whatever shit she's giving out this time around. Let's take a listen. Hopefully.
Live from Studio F, it's Fox and Friends for a very special guest right over here on the new Curvy Cab. Hey, look, it's Ivanka Trump, special advisor to President Donald J. Trump.
It's so nice to be here.
Right.
I join you almost every morning, just not on the couch.
Right.
So it's extra special to actually be here. It's amazing.
Right.
It's amazing. So the people, the location.
This shit.
Busy, but I actually. We had an amazing time, all family, and just everyone came in for it, and it was really.
9 million people were watching a middle of the day. They lost 33%. We lost 33% of our productivity because everyone was watching James Comey speak. you think? What do you think came out of that? Where did you watch it? What do you think emerged?
Well, my father felt very vindicated in all the statements that he's been making and feels incredibly optimistic. But, you know, at the White House and throughout the administration, we were incredibly focused on the reason and what we're fighting for. So last week, while it didn't get the level of headlines, it will ultimately have a much more important impact, was Infrastructure Week, focusing on the commitment to rebuild this country, rebuild rural locations which have fallen into great disrepair, repair our waterways, air traffic control. So there were a series of very important and big and far-reaching initiatives on infrastructure. This coming school, we're visiting one of the great examples of skill-based learning and skills-based education, a technical school in Wisconsin, which we're very excited about, to talk about the skills gap and to really highlight the fact that there is a viable path other than a 4-year college experience. So really investing in...
I'm sorry, I'm just going to stop here because I can't find the part just yet of the interview that I want to play, so can't even find it. Okay, here it is. Okay, here it is.
You know, we moved down to Washington. We want to be helpful. We want to do big things, important things. And there's nothing more important than enabling people.
Is it harder than you thought, though? Is it harder than you thought to stick to the things you want to do because of what keeps coming up, whether it's the Russia investigation or something else?
It is hard. Level of viciousness that I was not expecting. I was not expecting the intensity of this experience, but this is my father and this administration intends to be transformative, and we want to do big, bold things, and we're looking to change the status quo. So I didn't expect it to be easy. I think and some of the ferocity was I was a little blindsided by on a personal level.
Aww. Aww. What's wrong, Ivanka? Washington and the media being named to Daddy Orange? Because if so, are you kidding yourself? Are you kidding me? Who the fuck are you kidding? Because right now, your father, aka Mr. If she wasn't my daughter, I'd be dating her, is the definition of vicious. If there wasn't a British sitcom on the air right now called Vicious, starring Sir Ian McKellen and Derek Jacobi, it would definitely be about him. There are a lot of reasons I can think of in my head right now that prove of him as more vicious than you think he isn't. Than you think he is in Washington. He made fun of people following different religions. He mocked a disabled reporter. You know, I don't know what he said. I don't remember, something like that. He called out and mocked Mayor of London, Khizr Khan, for his city's response to the recent terror attack. He disrespected the Gold Star family after the father verbally whipped his ass at the DNC. He said that infamous phrase, grab him by the pussy. And even before that, he was infamous for his behavior towards and treatment of women for decades, including his past 2 wives. One of them is your mom. And he wasn't very discreet about it. Also, you defended Daddy Orange's actions and policies at an event while calling Saudi Arabia's current relations with women progressive. Also, your father is very complicit in so many physical, verbal, and illegal acts of crimes. That will make Saddam Hussein go lockjaw. Hey, you remember that word, complicit? You used it during an interview with CBS this morning in the wrong context. Decent times.
You're the phrase complicit, and Jared and Ivanka are complicit in what has happened to the White House. How do you feel about that? There have been articles, there have been parodies. What do you think about that accusation?
If being complicit is wanting to be a force for good and to make a positive impact, I'm complicit. I don't know the critics who may say that of me, if they found themselves in this very unique and unprecedented situation that I am now in, would do any differently than I'm doing to make a positive impact. I don't know what it means to be complicit, but I hope time will prove that I have done a good job, and much more importantly, that my father's administration is the success that I know it will be.
That's not what complicit means. Complicit means being tied to illegal acts of crime or wrongdoing. Jesus, the apple really doesn't fall far from the orange tree. So, Ivanka, maybe the reason everyone else is vicious to your father is because your father is being vicious toward everyone else. On cable TV, in Washington, in politics, in America, and in the world. No matter what, if you're not him, or his family, or his donors, or his party, or even his party, you're a target. And it went on ever since the last time he attempted to run for president. Remember that last time he accused President Obama of not being born in this country and of being born in Kenya? Oh, what a laugh that was. Daddy Orange is a 7-year-old child in the body of a 70-something-year-old old grown-ass man. And he doesn't care about that. He's rich. And because of the fact he's president, he can do whatever he wants, or whatever he thinks he wants. Despite the fact that he's committed some really illegal shit. And is going to be held for his actions. Held accountable for his actions. So whatever viciousness you think that Washington has for your father, it's because they're right in that. Because your father is a pathetically vicious, cruel, entitled man. Maybe if Daddy Orange actually acts like a politician, or a politician in training, and actually does what he's supposed to do by serving the people of this country, instead of doing whatever he wants to do by kissing the rectums of his donors and supporters, and pleasing himself, his family, and his businesses, then maybe he won't be so much of an open asshole to everyone, then maybe he wouldn't be where he is today. And maybe you wouldn't be such a pinhead pawn holding his hand throughout the entire process and defending his stupid, retarded actions every single day on state media. I mean, Fox and Friends. Just grow up and actually do what we want you to do as the person who works for this country. And just let your father know he needs to be a president. He needs to grow the fuck up, smarten the fuck up, and just do what he has to do for us. This country that he's now the leader of. Jesus Christ. The more I hear or talk about this family, the more I want to just bash my head against the window. The more this continues, the more I hope this is over. It's almost over soon. Now, you remember Brock Turner? The guy who was once caught sexually abusing and almost raping a blacked-out drunk girl behind a dumpster at a party, and essentially got off with basically a 3-month warning thanks to rich, hairless, entitled, dumb parents and a gullible jackass of a judge who believes that he's not a bad kid and actually does want to make something of his life. Or about that rock star who had questionable relations with female fans and, worst of all, had a pedophilic rapist relationship with a 1-year-old child. Well, one of them went to jail, deservedly. The other one got off scot-free. And only one can wonder what will happen to Austin Jones, a popular YouTuber who has just been revealed last week and arrested for possessing child pornography. How disgusting. How not too shocking. According to this article from Rolling Stone, YouTube singer Austin Jones was returning to the U.S. following a concert in Poland on Monday when he was taken into custody at Chicago's O'Hare Airport. The 24-year-old was arrested on 2 counts of production of child pornography. If convicted, he could land in prison for maximum of 15 years. According to the Chicago Sun-Times, Jones will remain in federal custody until his court hearing Wednesday because prosecutors say he is a quote-unquote risk to the community and there's a danger he'll flee. Court documents state that Jones was allegedly in communication with 2 underage female victims via Facebook in August 2016 and May 2017 in both interactions. Asked, excuse me, sorry. Shit, this thing. And in both interactions, had asked the 14 and 15-year-old victims to prove to him that they're his biggest fans by sending him sexually explicit videos. In the criminal complaint, one girl admitted that she made 15 videos for Jones as recently as May 4th in what she called a quote-unquote audition. She alleged that the YouTube star pressured her into hard, even though she told him she might pass out and that she was tired from what he was asking her to do. At one point, during their Facebook interactions, the victim allegedly acknowledged to Jones that Jones was 24, and he requested that she repeatedly acknowledge that she was, quote-unquote, only 14. Jones's other alleged victim, whom he chatted with in August 2016, alleged that the singer told her she would get to perform a sex act on him if she were, quote, lucky. Jones allegedly acknowledged that she was 23 at the time and the victim was 14. Federal authorities said that the girl sent Jones a total of 25 videos, including 8 that were sexually explicit. According to the complaint, once arrested Monday, Jones admitted to, quote, receiving full videos from the victims, and he admitted that it was for sexual pleasure. Jones, who is best known for his own renditions of popular songs by artists like Justin Bieber, 21 Pilots, and Fall Out Boy, has a following of more than 500,000 subscribers on his YouTube page and more than 300,000 followers on Instagram. The fire in 2015 over allegations that he had lied about his age in order to solicit twerking videos from underage girls, which led to a lengthy Facebook apology and an emotional YouTube confessional. I'm embarrassed. I'd have conversations online with girls that would involve me asking them to create a video of themselves twerking. Excuse me. He wrote at the time of the since-deleted Facebook post. Sometimes I'd make videos of myself doing some twerk moves in return. Here's the truth. I never asked them to do anything more than send them a twerking video. Nothing ever went beyond that. End quote. Well, actually, there is more proof of more beyond that. You basically sent them. No. You basically asked them to send them you videos of them doing disgusting things. And now that the proof is in the pudding, you might as well make your own pudding in jail while you're right in front of guys who are basically giving you meat sandwiches. Honestly, what is up with people having an attraction to little kids doing very adult things? It's heinous and unsettling. And what shocked me is that this is a guy in his early 20s, and that these are girls in their mid-teens. That is sick and wrong nonetheless, but still. Usually when I first hear of stories of this crime, the men committing them are in their early, basically mid-20s and higher, and the poor children trapped into this are much younger. And since all the men that I've seen in cases like these over the years are white, this one fits most of the bill. But this is still deplorable and disgusting. He deserves to get arrested and he deserves to go to prison for this. And the reason why I bring up Brock Turner, because he was also a talented young white man who did something disgusting and deplorable and deserved to be punished. Unfortunately, in this case, you know what happened next. Also, a lot of YouTubers that I know these days have really hit some controversy during their careers. One of them was known for pretty much pulling a prank on another YouTuber by shooting his friend. React, you know, the guys about React, the Fine Brothers have created, a program where they wanted to just basically own the word React. Keemstar doing something too. One of the YouTubers raping or committing something like rape or something like that. And lots of them were white. Most of them did some heinous things. And the sad thing is, well, all of them I've known of were white. I've never seen a black YouTuber do things like this before. Maybe they're much better at keeping things private. But anyway, this was absolutely disgusting. And this Austin Jones guy, I don't think he'll ever recover from this for the rest of his life. Plus, I don't think he deserves to anyway. But then again, such is the pity and consequences of being a successful YouTuber. Then again, I don't subscribe to him, so what do I know? I don't really. For all I care, he has like 100 subscribers, and most of his videos are just 6 minutes long. And there's just, non-popular songs. So what do I care? Okay, now let's move on to our next story. And trust me, it's almost over. So you guys may have heard of the Carmichael Show, a sitcom on NBC that mixes comedy with discussion of real-life issues. Now, the series co-creator and star is in a bit of a tizzy with the Peacock Network over postponing an episode. Gerard Carmichael talked with Chelsea Handler about the postponed episode, Shoot Up Abel, in which Gerard, the titular character of the show, survives a terror shooting at a mall and tries to make sense of it all. He explains that he's furious at NBC for postponing the episode because of the aftermath of a shooting at a congressional baseball practice earlier in the day in Alexandria, Virginia. We want the episode to air on that day to tackle how to handle a random motivated shooting. Now, according to Deadline, John Carmichael called it criminal of NBC to pull the mass shooting episode of this series, The Carmichael Show, last night. NBC decided not to air the episode Wednesday night. Well, I said it earlier. The network plans to reschedule the Carmichael Show episode, of course, source to the matter told Deadline. Meanwhile, the network aired a different episode of the series that had been scheduled to air later this month on Wednesday night. Now, here's that part of the interview.
Which is, it's really good, and it's really hard to do a really good sitcom, I think. There are a select few out there now. I mean, in the olden days, they were everywhere, but a lot of people are comparing this to All in the Family.
Yeah. Well, if I may, in relation to that, in a bit of a, in relation to the show, with the episode that we have scheduled to air tonight, it's Wednesday, we're taping it, is about a mass shooting, and this morning we read about what happened in Alexandria, Virginia and San Francisco, where there were two mass shootings. Multiple people lost their lives, and a congressman was injured as of right now. Was all we know. And this episode would have an opportunity to talk about these tragedies in a meaningful way. To really lend itself to conversation. A lot of times when things like this happen, and someone wants to talk about it in an outlet that's not the news, people will say too soon. But when is it not too soon? Unfortunately, these things happen constantly, and it's a thing that breaks all of our hearts. The episode itself was me, the character Gerard, surviving a mass shooting, and him coming to the realization that although he wasn't physically harmed, he is still a victim. We all are victims. When something like this happens, we realize that we all suffer from fear. Fear of going out, fear of enjoying your life, and we all suffer from the pain of knowing that families have lost loved ones. And that's what the episode is about. Right now, NBC wants to pull the episode. I understand, the corporation making that decision, but really, to me, what it says is that you don't think that America is smart enough to handle real dialogue and something that reflects real family conversations and something that feels honest and true and still respects the victims. We handled the episode with as much love and integrity as we possibly could. But to just pull that, it's criminal. It seems to do a disservice to the viewer. It does a disservice to you. It does a disservice to all of us. So right now, we're having what I hope is a conversation about it. We're having dialogue and not just a decision. We'll see if it airs tonight. We don't know, but that's why I'm being a little weird. I'm sorry I don't have fun vacation stories.
No,
Okay, so in my opinion, it sounds like Gerard here wants to have the episode here anyway, and found the shooting as a perfect, happy accident of an excuse to have it aired. Except one thing. A lot of Americans are as strong-willed as he is to air this episode of something hours after the accident or the incident happened. If a terror attack happens, and unfortunately there's a chance of when it will happen too, sadly, no one wants to watch an episode of anything involving shootings so soon after the real thing in real life happened. They just want them to end, and they don't want them to happen again. Although in the case of these days, they don't want them to happen so frequently. Copycat attacks that happen because they want to get their own foot in the door to hell, I guess. Because, everybody wants attention. And then TV networks that air these shows that have storylines that somehow coincidentally involve something similar, they have to postpone it so that people watching it won't get angry and criticize the network or anyone in the cast and crew in full force because of it. They want to, they just want to enjoy something, calm and enjoyable and light, so they can take their mind off of this and move on with their lives and take the fear off. And the networks really don't want to hear about it for days on end. Trust me, it's happened before for different controversies, and it can get annoying. And especially in the era of social media, they don't want to hear that. I'm sure they pull the hair out after one too many grammatically incorrect tweets. And criticizing the network that you work for, that airs your show, and basically gives you your paycheck, will not help your case. In fact, it'll make you look incredibly full of yourself. Now, I love The Carmichael Show. It's brilliantly written and truly hilarious, with a wonderful cast and a great track record of tackling tough issues very well. If you want to check it out for yourself, it's on both Netflix and Hulu. I think you'll like it a lot. And in my opinion, as much as I would love to see an episode that tackles the issue of mass shootings that are terror-related, I myself wouldn't want to watch it so early. Maybe in the week after, so I can, have a nice conversation about with my family at least. And other people really don't want that to happen either. They just want to just forget about it and move on. But the thing is, really, I can try to understand where he's going with. He wants us to have a natural and honest conversation about issues like these. But the thing is, there are still a lot of people in this country who just don't want to, especially hours after. They want to live in a nice, calm, clean world where things like this don't happen, either as frequently as it is today or at all. They just want to move on with some nice, wonderful topics to discuss, like how school was today, or if you cut the grass, or going to the park. Just no, nothing about shootings or anything. And I would appreciate that talk because it shows how real our world is. And as much as we don't want them to happen, we can't stop them. And all we can do is just react to them in the way we can. I wouldn't call NBC being criminal because I think they did the right thing. I think they did the right thing to remove the episode because it'd be crazy to have this episode air. It seemed very insensitive. Even though the show tries its hardest not to be insensitive, but to be real. Try to be very realistic. And you know what? I can understand it too. So, in the end, Gerard Carmichael, the NBC Network preempted an episode of your show. Just deal with it. I'll be lucky it took until now that the network let it air at whatever pace you want. Guns, rape, Bill Cosby, Orange for President. It all happened on this show and no rejections. They love your show. They want you to do whatever you want with it. They give you creative freedom to do whatever you want. And in fact, it's been very successful of it. In fact, it looked like they were going to burn it off after season 1, but because of the huge showing and the critical acclaim and the fact that you turned out to like it, that they turned out to like it themselves, they want it to succeed at however long it can air on the air. They just was looking out for their viewers in their own weird way. Well, not too weird, but you know what I mean. I'm sure they'll air it soon enough. Just like I'm sure they'll air an episode involving using the N-word. I would see that. I don't know about other people, but that's another story. Okay, I was going to say something about Steve Harvey and his comment to a Flint resident on his morning show, but I'm going to say it real quick. He said, I hope you enjoy your brown glass of water. Your nice brown glass of water. I defended him once before, but I'm not going to defend him anymore. It may seem like a joke, but it's really not, Harvey. And here's why. For the past year or so, the residents of Flint can't drink water because of the fact that the politicians there pretty much changed the water supply. They got it from the shitty Michigan River. And they can't drink that because it's contaminated. It's disgusting. It's poisonous, and it's pretty much shit in their cup. They can't drink it. They can't bathe in it because it'll make them sick. They can't do that. No one wants to drink that. Well, unless they're on Fear Factor and need to win $50,000. But for now, fuck off for that. I mean, just because someone is happy that said that they're happy that the Cleveland Cavaliers didn't win the NBA Finals, that doesn't mean you should be this bitter to tell them to enjoy their drink of water. And yes, he did ask them if the resident was from Flint, and when he said yes, he did say that. So basically, Fuck off, man. Makes me so glad that that Fear Factor joke makes more sense since it's back on the air. God, I love that show. Okay, finally, I wanna do this nice little repeat. Now, I used to do this sorry about that. I used to do this nice little thing in one episode where I talk about a quirky article I found. Now, the last time I did this was about this article about how eating boogers isn't a bad thing and actually is good for you. Now, I think I want to try this again about this article I saw earlier today about Scooby-Doo. Not the cartoon, the classic cartoon. The 2002 movie that people are still trying to forget ever existed. Now, here's a funny thought. The Scooby-Doo movie that we watched that was kid-friendly and family-friendly and stuff, it originally wasn't supposed to be that way. It was supposed to be a rated R film. Now, in this article from the New York Post, which, funnily enough, also was the website where I got the Eating Boogie story from. This article involves an interview from the writer of that film, James Gunn. That's right, the same James Gunn who wrote and directed Guardians of the Galaxy, both Volume 1 and Volume 2. Oh. In the article, Steve says Scooby-Doo wasn't supposed to be a kids' movie. It was originally supposed to be an R-rated movie. Sorry, it's supposed to come up. All right, here we go. Now, in the article, James Gunn confirmed on the 15th anniversary of the 2002 premiere of Scooby-Doo that the film R-rated comedy. In a lengthy Facebook post, I had loved the character of Scooby-Doo since I was a kid and was excited at the prospect of making a live-action film with 2002's cutting CGI technology. It was not exactly what we planned going out. I had written an edgier film geared towards older kids and adults, and the studio had ended pushing it into a clean-cut children's film. Scooby-Doo starred Freddie Prinze Jr., Sarah Michelle Gellar, Linda Cardellini, and Matthew Lillard as Shaggy. Neil Fanning did the voice of the Gloved Canine. Gunn added the film would have looked completely different had he done it his way. He said, and yes, the rumors are true. The first cut was rated R by the MPAA, and the female star's cleavage was so as not to offend, he wrote. But you know, such is life. I had a lot of fun making this movie regardless of all that, and I was able to eat, buy a car, and buy a house because of it. While Scooby-Doo ended up becoming a more family-friendly film than what Gunn had originally envisioned for a story, he insisted that the cast enjoyed every moment of making the movie, even when cameras stopped rolling. He wrote, "The cast, a few members of the crew, and I had massive games of Nerf gun tag throughout the house, trying to kill each other fours." I don't know what that last word means in this context, but truly some of the most fun I've ever had. However, Gunn did face another setback once Scooby-Doo was released. So, what do I remember from 15 years ago? I remember being bummed out that the reviewers were pretty terrible. I remember being bummed out that the reviews were pretty terrible, he recalled. These days, I might glance at the occasional review, admittedly, mostly only good ones, but back then, I read every single one. I also read everything written about the movie online by like anybody, including bulletin board folks. It was kind of a film self-involvement I've learned to avoid since, but needless to say, it was not an exceptionally good day. Still, Gunn didn't just receive bad news. He described one moment that was one of the best days of my life, quote unquote. At about 5:30 Saturday morning, weekend opening weekend, Lorenzo Di Bonaventura, the head of production at Warner Brothers, and one of the people who gave me my start, called me and woke me up at home to tell me we made 18 million before. Now, that doesn't seem to be all that much today. Guardians of the Galaxy will make around that on a Thursday night alone. But back then, it was enough to make the big movie the biggest June opening ever. Until that moment, I thought if the movie came out and didn't do so well, I'd be able to continue getting writing jobs. And my life was going to be the same. But in that one single moment, I knew everything had changed. And of course, Gunn were going to write screenplays for the superhero film series Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, when I read this article, I was quite surprised that this film, based on the cartoon series we loved and grew up with and adored, edgy-based film for adults and young teenagers. I'm sorry, young adults and adults, and not, for all family. But looking back on it now, thinking of it, I may have probably hated it if I'd seen it as a kid, but I'd probably loved it if I was an adult now, because I love Scooby-Doo, and pretty much I'm one of those fans who pretty much liked every other version. And yes, that includes Shaggy and Scooby-Doo Get a Clue. But had I seen this film in its original vision by James Gunn, I wouldn't have loved it as much as I did when this version that we have now that I loved as a kid and probably still like as an adult. But I pretty much would have loved it now, considering what James Gunn has proven to become with the Guardians of the Galaxy series. I would have really loved that film had it was made this way today. And I would have pretty much, loved to see Sarah Michelle Gellar and Linda Cardellini and their characters in that film as it were written originally. And admittedly, I would have finished off to it. But that film would definitely be entertaining in that way had it been written originally that way. Would I have enjoyed it as a kid? Yeah, I said no, but I would have enjoyed it as an adult. Would that be a thing? I wish it would have been, now that that Gunn mentioned it, because admittedly, now that I think of it, I would have watched it a lot. And I definitely would have sung to whatever version of the Scooby-Doo theme song that would have been made for this film that wouldn't be as clean as we all came to, remember, love, and sing at times under our throats when we hear it. So, thank you, James Gunn, and for admitting this to us. I'm sure some people would not have liked it, but I sure would have. Well, it depends on how it turned out. Well, that's it for this edition of Maroon Monday's Live. Thank you for joining me. If you like what you saw here, which will definitely be edited down once it's all posted on YouTube, please hit like and subscribe, and don't forget to click the little bell to be notified for future videos. I already have some things to do this week. It'll be off the cuff, and spontaneous. So whatever you see on the blog site, it's just something I just came up with on the fly, really. It's just something I looked up. Oh yes, a special edition of Short Long Music Review on the BT Awards will be posted on Saturday, and this time I mean earlier on Saturday. And of course, I got a special live Maroon Monday's Live extra edition of the BT Awards. So tune in for that next Sunday night. And don't forget the next edition of Maroon Monday's Live next Sunday, soon after. Hope you enjoyed that. Remember to, if you like what you see here, I hope you enjoy what I have on the blog site. That's maroonmondays.blogspot.com. That's MONDAS. I'm sorry, I keep doing this. MONDAYS. No, screw it. I'll just post that in the description because why did I just call Mondays first? Anyway, that's it for this edition. I'll see you next week, some random time. I'm trying my best to find a simple, flat, one-time slot only, so I'll try it after this next week. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next week. I'm Andrew, and I'll see you around.